What's up guys, welcome back to a brand new video, and today we're going to be doing What If Kurama Raised Naruto Part 2. Let's get into it. So we start this part with the team going to the Land of Waves mission, and like usual, they would end up getting attacked by the Demon Brothers. And what would end up happening is both Naruto and Sasuke would end up jumping up simultaneously and shooting a fireball at one of the brothers. And it would actually end up happening that Naruto's fireball would end up burning the brother more than Sasuke's fireball due to Kurama's chakra enhancing the fireball. This would piss Sasuke off a decent amount, as some orphan had gotten a bigger fireball than an Uchiha. But Sasuke would pretty quickly get over it, and the Demon Brothers would be tied up and interrogated. The Demon Brothers would actually end up revealing that they were sent by Zabuza, so the team would know that Zabuza would actually end up coming up pretty fast. So Asuma would be a pretty decent amount concerned and would think about actually sending him backup. So he would decide that he would end up calling in for backup. So after waiting a little while, Kakashi's team with Shikamaru, Choji, and Ino would actually end up coming with them. So the two teams together would end up going along, and eventually Zabuza would attack them, but this time there is two Jonins. There's both Kakashi and there's Asuma. So this time Zabuza stands way less of a chance, and he would actually end up getting knocked out before Haku could even do it himself. And also, Naruto, with his increased senses, would actually end up sensing Haku in the trees before he would have a chance to come out himself, and Naruto would go and surprise attack Haku. So Haku and Naruto would begin to get into an altercation, and Haku would try and make ice spikes on the ground to try and get Naruto, but Naruto would jump up, to which Haku would try and shoot ice spikes from his hand to try and attack Naruto that way, but Naruto would end up being able to dodge every single one of the ice spikes before taking out his sword and slashing across Haku. This wouldn't kill Haku immediately, but it would wound him pretty badly. And now we would end up cutting back to Zabuza, and just as Kakashi and Asuma think the fight is over, they would be proven wrong. As here we would end up getting a flashback that would show that once Zabuza and Haku ended up running into Orochimaru, and Orochimaru would end up finding out about Zabuza's goal to capture or do a coup d'etat to overthrow Yagura, and he would decide that if he gives Zabuza power and he can end up actually getting his goal done, maybe he can have a place in Zabuza's village. So he would end up giving Zabuza a curse mark. So it would be at this moment, now defeated before Asuma and Kakashi, that Zabuza would rise once again. So Zabuza would rise, and now his strength and speed would be increased a bunch, and he would also be able to protrude spikes from his body and morph his skin and stuff, so he would be a much bigger threat for Asuma and Kakashi. So they would end up fighting for a while, and it would actually end up coming to a draw where Zabuza was pretty close to being mortally wounded, and he would decide that today just wasn't going to be his day. So he would tell Haku that he would return for him, but he had to get out of there, so Zabuza would leave Haku behind. So now we can get into two things. One of them is going to be the fact that now the Leaf Shinobi have actually captured Haku, so they would really try their best to interrogate Haku, but Haku would not budge and would end up staying loyal to Zabuza. And Naruto and Haku would actually become pretty decent friends, but Haku would make it pretty clear to Naruto that when Zabuza did reappear and they would have to fight, he would end up choosing Zabuza's side. But when it comes to the training, I'm not really going to get into the Inoshi Control training, as most of their training has to do mainly with clans. But for Asuma's team, Naruto will end up learning the Gale Palm Jutsu, Tenten will actually begin learning lightning release, and Sasuke will end up getting a burning ash jutsu from Asuma, as well as learning some more Sharingan techniques from Kakashi. But eventually, we would get to a day where Zabuza would come for Haku, and on that day, the teams would be on the bridge helping out, but Naruto would leave clones behind to watch over Haku, and although those clones have some strength, they're not as strong as regular Naruto, and Zabuza would be able to come in, and he would end up taking out the clones, capturing Inari and Tsunami, and taking back Haku. And as soon as Naruto gets the memories from his clones, he would realize that soon the Zabuza and Haku are going to show up, and they'll most likely use Tsunami and Inari as hostages. So that's when Naruto makes a plan, and Zabuza and Haku would end up showing up with the hostages, and Zabuza would tell the teams that they are going to hand over to Zuna, or else Tsunami and Inari are going to die. So, and it ends up happening where they actually end up handing over to Zuna. But it would turn out that Tazuna would actually just be a transformed Naruto, and Naruto would poof his transformation once he gets close enough to Zabuza, and he would end up shoving a Rasengan straight for Zabuza's face. But at the last moment, Haku would end up using a shield of ice to protect Zabuza's face, and Zabuza would end up kicking Naruto back. So the fight between everybody would end up beginning, with it being Beginning versus Haku and Asuma and Kakashi versus Zabuza. And Zabuza would only be in his curse mark stage 1, as it does take a lot out of him in order to go into his curse mark stage 2, and he can only do it like once every few weeks, so he's trying to save that. But the Genin would end up getting trapped in a massive ice dome that would be similar to Haku's ice mirrors, but it would be on a much larger scale, as obviously Haku has more opponents. But Naruto would end up deciding that he is going to destroy Haku, and he would end up creating multiple shadow clones, like 100 shadow clones, and they would all charge Rasengans at once before dashing at the domes, completely breaking it. And Naruto would decide that he is not going to let Haku win this fight, so he would create around 100 shadow clones before all of the shadow clones would use Rasengans and go for the ice mirrors, and would completely shoot Haku out. And as soon as Haku lands on the ground, Shikamaru would quickly use his Shadow Possession Jutsu to trap Haku there. But in this moment, Sasuke, fuming with rage, tired of Naruto always showing him up and never letting him be able to get a chance to test his skills, would end up grabbing Naruto's sword, pulling it out of its sheath, before charging to Haku and killing him. Naruto would scream at Sasuke, asking what the hell is he done, as the fight was over, but Sasuke would tell Naruto that Naruto shouldn't be becoming friends with the enemy, and at the end of the day, Haku was the enemy and Sasuke took care of it. Naruto would be about to attack Sasuke, but Shikamaru would stop him, telling him that it's not worth it. It would be at around this time that Asuma and Kakashi, after a tough battle, would end up being able to kill Zabuza. But it would also be at this time where the entirety of Gato's mob would show up at the bridge, and Naruto would decide to, instead of direct this anger at Sasuke, he would direct it at the mob. So Naruto would gain 3 tails all at once, and he would take out his sword and completely charge the entire mob and would slaughter them. Naruto would come back to his senses, realizing that he really shouldn't have done that, but it was too late now. Zabuza, still on his last breath, After seeing all of that destruction Naruto had caused, he would call Naruto over and he would tell Naruto that he thinks Naruto is worthy to have his blade, so Naruto would actually end up taking Zabuza's blade. But the team would end up returning to the village, and that's where we're gonna be ending part 2 of What If Kurama had raised Naruto. I know I kind of started a lot during this part, and also there was a lot of background noise. I apologize for that, but I hope the story of this part does make up for it, and when we come back, we'll be going into the Chunin exams. So I'll see you guys in part 3. Peace.